Hello everybody, today we'll be talking about the Philadelphia Flyers and whether or not they can go on a deep playoff run. Now before we start, please make sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Now let's get to it. So starting off, we have to talk about whether or not the Flyers can even be consistent, as in the past 10 years they have made and missed the playoffs alternating every other year. So it is funny, but it's not funny for the organization or Philly fans, as this team can't find consistency to save its life in terms of making the playoffs. They've never really been bad in that 10-year stretch, I am aware of that, but going forward they're going to have to find consistency considering they're right up against the cap. They've got about $400,000 left in terms of money. Now, can Philly become consistent? I think they can, especially if they keep spending money while the other teams in the Metro get a little bit older. There's a few teams there that we've talked about before, maybe taking a few steps back due to age. Will it happen this season? Maybe, maybe not. But with the roster Philly has, they really cannot make any more excuses for missing out on the playoffs. Now, since I think that Philadelphia is more consistent, or should be going forward, do I think some of their new players could be a key to a deep playoff run? Well, absolutely. You have Ryan Ellis, who is the guy that I'm most excited for the Flyers. He is criminally underrated with Nashville. In addition to him being on the blue line, I think he's just going to provide a good, impact off the ice for the Flyers. He and Provorov should be a good pairing and might even click more as they get more ice time together as the season goes along. Then you have Kim Atkinson, who is a consistent goal scorer in the league, and while his better days may be behind him, I think he could still be somebody that gives you possible resurgence, maybe for a year or two, who knows, but I think he's going to give you a goal-scoring ability and more offense, and he might, like I say, have that resurgence. He's not expected to do as much as he was in Columbus, where he had to be a big leader. You've already got those guys that are leaders. He can step in and just play. If you could give some power play relief to the Flyers this year, that would be huge, though, as the Flyers have had their issues in the past. Remember, the 2020 series against the Islanders and the playoffs in general was rough for them. Now, Kim on their second line with Farabee and Hayes is going to be one of my favorite lines to watch in hockey, just because I'd really love to see what they could do. Now, two other players we have to talk about that could be boost: Erasmus Ristolainen and Keith Yandle. Did they give up too much in the trade for Ristolainen? Yes, probably. But the reality is they have to make it work with him. And now that he's out of Buffalo, I can see his offensive game boost back. You have to think he didn't get a bunch of games with Eichel last year. And him being paired with Travis Sanheim could be a good thing to cover up his defensive game. He's not going to be a star at this point. I think he is what he is, but he will have a better chance to succeed in Philadelphia than he did with the Sabres, which leads us to Keith Yandle, who's on a cheap one-year deal. Yandle's days, definitely the better ones are behind him, but he could be a power play specialist for them, play limited minutes, give them a power play boost, and he is on a $900,000 deal. It's just a one-year deal. I think if things go well, especially on the power play, he will be worth a little bit more than that. Now, things could not go well. It's tough to say because in limited power play minutes, it just depends. Will these guys be Hart winners? No. But maybe they're just a thing Philly needs to get a push going, especially guys like Ellis and Atkinson, especially Ellis. Now, that push is going to have to come in net too, as you can be a good team that is held back by your goalie, and we'll have to see if Carter Hart helps or hurts his team. The young, tantalizing goalie had a down season but signed a 3-year, $11.9 million extension, and expectations are high. Not only because this team is expected to be a playoff hopeful, but because coming into the league, Carter Hart had these big expectations. You would hear about him when he was down in the AHL, and you would, wait for him to make his arrival into the league. And we've seen what Carter can do at his high points when he is the most polarizing, or no, the most, but one of the most polarizing goalies in the league. But he has to get back to that point and show everyone last year was a bit of a fluke. Now, with Martin Jones as backup, he'll probably have to start more games due to Martin Jones' play just falling off a cliff the past 3 years. We'll have to see there. Now, if things go well, I could easily see Hart getting his first 31 season in his career. If they don't, then Philly could be in trouble, as they'll probably be relying on Martin or somebody they bring in through a trade to carry the team in net. So, with all that said, do I think the Flyers are set for a deep run in the playoffs? Yes. And I think the Flyers burned me last year when I bought too much into them. But just like a kid that's told not to put their hand on the burner and that it's hot, I'm going to ignore the warning and say Philly has a good chance to win a round or two. Maybe get lucky, maybe win more. We'll have to see. I like some of the additions they made, especially the Ellis trade, and I'm ready to be burned once again. Philly has alternated playoff appearances. They're bound to make it if they keep the streak alive. Can they make a run? That's going to be a whole other thing. But for now, I'm going to take the bait and say yes. Do you think the Flyers can go on a deep run in the playoffs? Let me know down below. Please make sure to like and subscribe. Everybody stay safe. Have a great night. You go love hockey, alright? Goodbye, Brigadiers and Brigadettes. This is your captain signing off. Have a great night.